Whoever thinks mythology is just dusty old stories relegated to ancient scrolls, they're sorely mistaken, not to mention probably a bore at dinner parties. Indeed, mythology is as relevant as ever, going so far as to bleed into the realm of conspiracy theories and shadowy figures. Take the Rothschilds, a household name so enigmatic that they're practically mythological themselves. But this banking dynasty didn't just spring out of thin air. It was orchestrated by Meyer Rothschild, a man so ahead of his time that if he were a clock, he'd be set a century forward. 5 sons, 5 cities, 5 banks. This was the masterstroke that birthed a financial empire that is as pervasive today as it was back in the 18th century. But enough with the basic history that you probably already know. In today's video at Old Money Luxury, let's dive into the future of the Rothschilds, an old money family that keeps everyone curious as to their plans, regardless of why and when. More specifically, we'll discuss the next generation of the family, the Millennials and Gen Zed members, who'll take the mantle of this legendary banking dynasty in the 21st century as we described. The secret life of the Rothschild family heirs. First on our list of Rothschild's heirs is Nathaniel Philip Victor James Rothschild, or Nat for those in the know. You see, this man is no mere heir-in-waiting. He's a bona fide business savant. Born in 1971 to Jacob, the 4th Baron Rothschild, Nat's been deeply entrenched in global enterprises since the early 21st century. From the catwalks of fashion to the labyrinthine corridors of Wall Street, he's everywhere and nowhere, and that's just how he likes it. And while we all like to think we're this savvy, this man renounced a £500 million inheritance in the public eye back in 2000. But here's where it gets juicy. Rumours swirl that his actual hidden treasure is sitting in a Swiss bank, and it's estimated to be an eye-watering 40 billion quid. But let's not kid ourselves. No Rothschild life is without its share of scandal. Take, for instance, Nat's notorious yacht party, where the guest list included Peter Mandelson, Labour's first Secretary of State at the time, and Russian business magnate Oleg Deripaska. And speaking of Russia, Nat's name is synonymous with Montenegro, a country rapidly becoming a playground for Russian moguls. His 40th birthday bash at Porto Montenegro was the stuff of legend. It even lured the nation's president. Coincidence? We doubt it. Oh, and Roman Abramovich is apparently more than just an acquaintance. Interesting to say the least. As for other shadowy connections, he's been linked with the offspring of none other than the late Libyan leader Muammar Gaddafi. If you want a translation for linked in your mind, the answer is as elusive as the man himself. All we know is, for someone said to be enjoying a quiet life in the Swiss Alps, Nat Rothschild seems to have a knack for keeping himself firmly in the orbit of international high rollers and controversial figures. Shifting gears, let's delve into another Rothschild enigma, James Alain de Rothschild, the 37-year-old son of the renowned Eric de Rothschild. Now Eric is practically a celebrity in high society. Known for his philanthropy and entrepreneurial spirit, he's the sort of man you'd find gracing the cover of Fortune, his eyes reflecting an empire's worth of secrets and successes. But it's an entirely different story for his offspring, James Alain. You'd be hard-pressed to find even a whisper of him online. So why the stark contrast? It could be that James Alain is deliberately eschewing the public eye, understandably avoiding the constant scrutiny and speculation that comes with the Rothschild surname. Thus, different to his father, James Alain is like a cipher. No headlines, no model arm candy, no vast business ventures. And here's the kicker. Unlike the usual Rothschild forays into banking and investment, James Alain has gone vinicultural. Yes, you heard right. The French heir, notice the aristocratic D in Rothschild, is deep into winemaking. Could it be a case of an old soul revealing in the artistry and refinement of viniculture? Indeed, there's something attractively clandestine about winemaking, isn't there? The lineage of grapes, the guarded techniques, the vault-like wine cellars. It's like banking, but for the senses. For a man who chooses to live under the radar, perhaps the timeless craft provides the perfect sanctuary. What is clear is that this young heir is penning his own narrative, far removed from the boardrooms and political intrigues that usually entangle his illustrious family. While we can only speculate on the man's motives and predilections, James Alain's choice of a quieter life suggests that not every Rothschild yearns for the spotlight. Some may find their riches in the subtleties of life's finer things. Next on our list of Rothschild heirs, let's discuss another James Rothschild. this one born in 1985. A character quite unlike his namesake, this James must enjoy a bit of the glitz, the glam and the ceaseless hum of the paparazzi. You probably know him best as Mr. Nicky Hilton, wedded to the sister of the incredibly famous Paris Hilton, and another scion of the Hilton hospitality empire. The pair met at the wedding of Petra Ecclestone and James Stunt, a setting already dripping with opulence and high society connections. Was it love at first sight or a strategic alliance of empires? Hard to say. What's tantalizing here is the union of a Rothschild with a Hilton, two colossal family names, one steeped in veiled financial maneuverings, the other in the brazen glare of tabloid flashbulbs. Why would a Rothschild, traditionally a guardian of discretion, choose to marry into a family where subtlety is often tossed to the wind? Perhaps it's a symbiotic relationship, where he enjoys the relative anonymity granted by his wife's overpowering spotlight. But what do we actually know about James? Well, not much beyond the fact that he's a dedicated family man with 3 children and a partner in a tech venture called True Arrow Partners. With a net worth surpassing the $1 billion mark, it's not like he's just arm candy for his famous spouse. The man is a bona fide power player, clearly engrossed in his own professional pursuits. Although he might occasionally grace the red carpet, arm in arm with Nicky, it's safe to say his life is more than just a series of photo ops. We can only surmise that, between the responsibilities of fatherhood and the demands of his tech partnership, James has quite a bit on his plate. Yet he manages to navigate both worlds with an ease that most of us can only dream of. Family man by day, billionaire entrepreneur by also day. Amidst the sea of Rothschild men, let's now turn our gaze towards Noémie, a mysterious presence in a lineage packed with enigmas. One might think that with her high-profile parents, Baron Benjamin de Rothschild and Ariana Langner, Noémie would be accustomed to a life under the microscope. But quite the opposite. She seems to have inherited her family's penchant for privacy. Imagine growing up as one of 4 girls in a family like the Rothschilds, where wealth and power are as commonplace as Sunday brunch, but where secrecy is the heirloom passed down through generations. The family dinners wouldn't just be about passing the salt, they'd be tactical discussions and strategy meetings, each sister perhaps preparing to take up her own mantle in the Rothschild dynasty. With such familial expectations hanging over them, it's hardly surprising Noémie might opt for a low profile. And of course we must talk about her mother, Ariana Langner. She's a game changer, and not just by virtue of marrying into the Rothschild clan. Ariana is the first woman, and notably an in-law, to helm a Rothschild banking group. Unprecedented, absolutely. So why break the mold and grant an outsider the keys to the family vault? Here's a thought. In a world changing at breakneck speed, even the Rothschilds can't afford to be stuck in the past. Ariana's appointment could signify a subtle modernization of the family ethos, an acknowledgement that merit and capability don't always run in the blood. As for Noémie herself, what we do know is that she's currently attending college in Canada. Her social media presence, like a true family member, is practically non-existent. Perhaps she's leading a double life on some private Snapchat account, but alas, we're not privy to that inner circle. She's indeed a Rothschild who's managed to dodge the limelight, and one can't help but wonder if she's consciously crafting her own discreet narrative far removed from her illustrious heritage. The next 2 on our list of recent Rothschild heirs are a bit more advanced in their years, but no less current in their pursuits. First, Hannah Rothschild, now 61, carries the weighty title of eldest child to Jacob Rothschild and the late Serena Dunn Rothschild, because of course there's always a late in these aristocratic dynasties. Now, the couple married in 1961 and stayed together until Serena's passing in 2019, proving that even Rothschilds, with all their wealth and pedigree, are not immune to the final curtain call. Hannah, however, is not one to rest on inherited laurels. She's penned novels like House of Trelawney and The Probability of Love, alongside a family tell-all biography about her aunt, the Baroness, The Search for Nika the Rebellious Rothschild. Because what's a dynasty without a rebellious aunt? Not content with just writing, she also turned her hand to documentary filmmaking, with the much buzzed about The Jazz Baroness and High Society, The Wonderful World of Nicky Haslam. Clearly, being a Rothschild isn't just about rolling in family wealth, but also rolling out cultural contributions. She also smashed through a few glass ceilings in her time, notably as the first woman to chair the National Gallery's Board of Trustees from the year 2015 to 2019. Her tenure left an indelible mark, proving once again that Rothschild women aren't content to simply sit on gilded chairs. They lead from them. Oh, and just for good measure, she's been chairing the board of Yad Hanadiv, the family's philanthropic foundation in Israel, since 2018. It's philanthropy, Rothschild style. Over in the French wing of the family, Edouard Rothschild, 66, son of the impeccably titled Guy de Rothschild and the ultra-chic Marie-Hélène de Rothschild, took a decidedly different path. In 2004, he had the audacity to turn down a position at the French Rothschild Bank, because apparently the family's sprawling financial empire just wasn't exciting enough. Instead, he poured his energies into passions like horse racing, serving as president of France Gallup not once, but twice. Clearly, Rothschilds don't do things by halves. A man of diverse interests, he also splashed over 20 million euros into left-wing Parisian newspaper Libération, eventually becoming its president. Because why settle for a vineyard share and racing horses when you can control the press too? In 2010, he upended things further by moving to Israel, embracing the family legacy of shaping nations, shall we say, as casually as others might redecorate their sitting rooms. And yes, it's a Rothschild tradition to be deeply entwined with Israel's foundation, right down to funding landmarks like the Knesset and Supreme Court, and Edouard just added his own chapter to that story. And last, we have arguably the star of this talk, the $10 billion heavy Rothschild heir, a philanthropist and an environmental advocate, David Mayer, the Rothschild. Born on the 25th of August, 1978, he's the youngest of 3 children of Victoria Lou Schott and Sir Evelyn de Rothschild of the English branch of the family. Quite unsurprisingly, his middle name, Mayer, is taken from the name of the founder of the family empire, Mayer Amschel Rothschild, or Rothschild.